Welcome, everyone. Once again, this is the CLG Premier Series, a qualifier for IPL 6. This is actually Group D. And AJ, what are the matches we're going to take a look at?
compLexity, Academy, and DVS Spark. We're going to take a look at here. Two, still up-and-coming teams. Two very interesting teams, too, because from what I look at the notes, these are two very early aggression, early, huge, like dragon, early towers. They like those early objectives. I'm expecting like a full-out brawl in the first few minutes, actually. Cool. But before we even get to that, Champ Select is actually already up. So let's go over to the picks and bans. compLexity Academy will be on first pick on the blue side. Nunu, Amumu, and Elise and Olaf all being banned out already.
Yeah, so a number of really strong champions. I am looking forward to it. I hope it is an all-out brawl. That'll be good. But the compLexity Academy in particular, on the blue side, we've seen a lot of them in the past. You know, whether it's under the compLexity name. I don't actually remember what their team was before they were picked up by compLexity. But they, a number of these players, they've had a lot of experience. Captain America, a long time ago, was on teams like Just Your Average Joes and a number of teams, and is very strong. And Chase on Fire is a very strong AD carry as well. So had mixed success in the past. We'll see what they can do, and we'll see what DVS can do. I actually don't recognize any of the guys from DVS, except for Patootie, actually. Yeah. I do recognize Patootie. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Patootie's the only one I recognize. But, I mean, it's still nice to see just, a few names pop up every once in a while. I was like, yeah, I remember that guy. I remember that guy, too. He was pretty cool. Rumble being the last ban, Kha'Zix being banned also, and the first pick, Kale, going over to compLexity. She's been seeing a lot of play recently. Even mentioned her in the latest homework too, and she's strong right now. She's really strong. She can go into jungle. She can go in mid, top. Very versatile right now in the meta.
Yeah, she is an all-around strong champion. What was the latest homework actually?
Latest homework actually. I was kind of going over the build that Frank in the office uses on Kale, the Nashor's Tooth into Zephyr, which on Kale is extremely cost efficient. You can get those two huge items, and that's like just basically a buy two get one in terms of like legendary scale items, and you get so much just for that value too. So Kale does require some amount of items to really get that hard hitting power in, but the items are so cheap, it doesn't take very long.
Well, Nature's Tooth in particular is really popular. A lot of times you won't see that Zephyr. You'll see, transition into like a Rage Blade or something like that. But yeah, Nature's Tooth is insanely strong. And Zephyr definitely has its uses too. It'll be interesting to see whether people start using it, because it does give you a lot of movement speed. As these guys are speeding through the picks right here, we'll go down on some of them. We have Kale, Lulu, and Ezreal. So really strong kind of standard bot lane, Lulu and Ezreal. It gives them a lot of kiting potential in team fights. It's a very strong laning phase thing, but it's kind of like the double shield. So it's Kale's ult plus Lulu's ult. It's going to protect them against a lot of burst damage. So in team fights, it could be kind of difficult for DVS to take people down, and particularly those small skirmishes early on. On the other side, DVS, they're running Draven Taric in the bottom lane. So really exciting bottom lane, has a lot of damage, and Draven in particular does very well against Ezreal, because Ezreal just can't exchange damage with him. So Draven wins that battle, but we'll see how that kind of works out. And then TF, so for that mobility, and then Cho. I'm guessing Cho in the jungle. I don't think they're going to swap it out for the top, so the top is still open for them. Yeah,
I will say though that compLexity, I'm liking their comp so far, because that's just a lot of poke. Ezreal and Lulu just is a brutal lane just on its own. You can't even get close to them without taking free shots or being slowed or something. And we've seen the Shen Nocturne combo before. It's so effective getting to the back line, especially in this instance. We're going for Draven, who is one of the squishiest champs right now in the game.
Well, those are great picks for a number of reasons. One, the Nocturne Shen combo, it counters Alpha TF pretty effectively. Yeah. Having that double teleport can easily shut down Twisted Fate early on in the game, and they have a very strong early game team. That is what compLexity is going for. High base damage, very tanky, very difficult to kill, and that difficulty is expounded upon by the fact that Draven, as an AD carry, he has a lot of damage, in particular in the laning phase, but in team fights, if you pressure him, then very quickly he loses all that damage. He does kind of the 80 carry dance in the back, is like I like to call it, and he misses out on his auto attacks. When you have Nocturne and Shen comboing there, when they already have a survivable team with Kayle, with Lulu, they both dive onto Draven, and instantly you miss out on your entire 80 carry damage. So their damage output is actually going to fall drastically in team fights. So that is actually going to be extremely difficult for DVS to deal with. The fact that this tanky team that's already very difficult for them to kill is now shutting down their #1 damage dealer. On the plus side, though, they can get some things going with the TF ult early. They have a really strong bottom lane that should be able to win that lane, and then Vladimir as well is also very strong on the top. Will provide them with a lot of AoE damage. But Cho in team fights should be pretty interesting. If he can land the rupture effectively, he could actually protect Draven pretty nicely there.
Yep, and Vladimir looking for plenty of map presence also, but also needs to match the aggression and the presence that Shen can have on the map. So he needs that teleport. Wherever Shen goes, he needs to be there as well. So while we have complexity with quite a bit of poke and the ability to dive straight for the back line, DVS, they're kind of like the come at me bro kind of team. It's like, hey, you're gonna be trying to engage on us. Vlad, ult, Cho, rupture. We're gonna try and silence and stun everything we can, all the while trying to do as much damage in a shorter time as possible. So it's going to be very interesting to see how long, first off, how long Draven can stay alive in these fights, but also to see if we see someone like Kayle spiral out of control, as we have seen in the past.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see what happens there. And I think part of when you look at that Kayle and whether Kale's going to spiral out of control, it has to do with what the lane matchups are. And even though the bottom lane should be in the favor of DVS, Ezreal and Lulu is, no scratch lane to throw out of there. I mean, that's a very difficult, strong lane. Lulu could get some free harass against Draven. But Kayle in particular, matching up against TF probably, possibly against Vladimir. Vladimir's clearly going to be going towards the top. But, if they do any swaps or anything like that, both of those are lanes that Kayle should win. Kayle is actually expected to win. Kayle just has so much damage up front, and that's going to make things very difficult for DVS to put on pressure when Kayle is able to shut down that lane. Top lane, that should be in Shen's favor as well. So they have mid and top in their favor, which means that all the pressure from TF is going to be focused towards the bottom lane. There's really very little pressure or potential for TF to go up top. I mean, he could if Shen's out of position, but Shen should win that lane. And that means that Nero on Nocturne can actually shift all of his focus down into that bottom lane and help take pressure, alleviate some of that pressure off of Ezreal and Lulu, just because of the fact that the top and mid should be theirs.
Yep. I'm also a little surprised because a lot of times in the past you've seen Nocturnes go for the Smite Exhaust, but he's going for the Flash just to have it. And I would imagine that going up against a team with a Draven, with an AD that has so much damage, I'm wondering why he's not going Exhaust on this.
Well, the Flash is, it's kind of 50-50. It's not like you see or Smite Exhaust every single game as Nocturne. It's only in very key situations, and usually those situations are when you're expecting to get kills early on in the game, and you're going to need that CC. Top lane versus Vladimir, Exhaust not really going to help them get that kill. If they get the taunt with Shen, then Vladimir is going to die. If they don't, then he's probably going to escape, and the Exhaust isn't really going to make much of a difference there. Bottom lane, they have enough CC to take down Draven, and Exhaust would help secure kills down there, but what the Flash does is it allows Nocturne to be much more aggressive with counter jungling. It allows them to get in and out and not have to worry about instantly dying in team fights. It gives them a little bit more survivability, and that's a lot more important in this situation.
Looks like it. So we have 30 seconds real quick. Let's go to Kayle. Let's give Kayle a quick look.
Well, you were talking about Kayle earlier.
We're talking about Kayle. Might as well. Yeah, let's do it.
Armor Pen, actually. So Armor Pen and Magic Pen, along with Ability Power.
Yeah, might as well.
The Armor Pen in particular is going to make Kayle very devastating in team fights. Thank you once again. I want to do a quick shout out to the man behind the camera. Chris is kicking ass and doing a really nice job with his transitions here. But 22-7-1. So going down the AD side, getting some Spell Pen as well.
Yeah.
So really aggressive stuff there. The rest of the stuff I'm expecting it's pretty standard. I actually didn't get a chance to check it out. I should have, but whatever. And we'll see what these guys can do.
It's good to see also those hybrid armor and Magic Pen runes being used. Like I remember when those first came out. I bought the 3 quints, and then
I didn't actually notice that. Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever actually used them. It's like,
yeah.
That is awesome. That is 6,000
I forgot
RP.
Those existed.
That's 6,000 IP completely down the toilet that I've never used. And you know what? It was probably more cost efficient just to get the reds anyway. Now I'm bothered. I should probably just buy a big like IP boost and just buy the reds just to make
Or
up
just
for
spend
it.
a couple $1,000s on the game.
Or
And
do
then you're
that
solid.
too. It's always a possibility too. So many people do it. I might as well just join them.
But we'll have to see what these guys are going to do. It is kind of an interesting level 1 dynamic between these two teams because the level 1 for DVS is really strong. When you look at Taric Stun, Twisted Fate, Cho'Gath Rupture, and all of the damage that Draven has, that's a brutal level 1. If they pick off anyone, then they're going to be able to get a kill. However, it's also kind of deceptively strong in that if compLexity, if they're grouped up and all sit in one little bush, anticipate the DVS invade, and if they know that what bush they're coming into, then compLexity actually has enough damage level 1. Nocturne has a ton of AoE level 1, and people kind of forget about that a lot of times. The Q into an auto attack is really devastating. Lulu and Ezreal are both very strong, and then Shen could taunt right into the team. So while I do expect DVS to potentially try for an invade and do something tricky there, they're going to have to be careful, because if compLexity wards early and keeps an eye on DVS as they approach, then compLexity could actually group in a bush and just insta-kill someone for first blood before DVS actually gets a chance to respond.
And with that's a big point too about having a Shen go top lane instead of the jungle, is that level 1 fight. Because if you go jungle Shen and you get taunt first, your jungle gets slowed so much. Like you hope and pray that you get that first blood. Otherwise, you're going to be so far behind. We've been seeing this a lot too. We've been seeing a lot more ADs start out with that Dorn's Blade. Not too much success we've been seeing with it, but hey, it's an option. And now with all these Season 3 tweaks, it's a viable pick. It's something, if you want that game plan, you want that extra oomph in that bot lane, is worth picking up. But there is a ward, plenty of wards over on the side of compLexity. They do see DVS fooling around in their red, but spotted, no, actually no, there's just a ward over on the tri-ramp, but compLexity went the long way around. Don't believe they've been spotted.
Yeah, they haven't actually been spotted by DVS, but they are recalling, so they're going to be able to control their red, but because they actually see that they're at the blue, they're just going to go back to their blue, and DVS was in a situation, they wanted to force an engage, they were looking for a really aggressive initiation, and then compLexity also, they kept clumped together, and they knew if they ran into someone, they could potentially get a quick steal, and they are actually going for the red here, but DVS, if they had gone a little bit sooner, you might have expected them to transition over to the blue and force a hard engage. They went a little bit late, so they didn't have time to make that transition. They just go take the red, and so it's just going to be a red swap here. But the difference is going to be Chase on Fire and LOL Poly, they're heading up into the top lane. So it's going to be a 2v1 versus Vladimir and a 2v1 versus Shen. And Shen tends to be a little bit more successful in that 2v1, but we'll see how these guys progress.
Yep. And also the ward over on the tri-ramp caught out Sykes coming back in from the red, so DVS now has a good idea, and they're pretty certain that Nocturne stole their red, which is true, but the ping's going off on the small golems. Not just the red. Not just the red, but the small golems, but there were pings going down over by the golems, and DVS, they're thinking that Nocturne is stealing those right now, and they are indeed correct.
Yeah, so we'll see what they're going to be doing. Nocturne right now, though, he's in a great position to try and go for this tower dive, and this is always expected. You have the quick push into the turret, the 2v1, you turn it into a 3v1, you get a quick kill. But Vladimir, he has leveled up his Q, so he doesn't have the W yet, but he's still going to be a difficult gank, so they have to watch out that they don't turn this around, because Nocturne's only level 2.
Nocturne comes in with the fear, one quick swipe and first blood. Ezreal was tanking the tower, but no big deal here. You got the kill, and that's what's worth it. Captain America, there's a Cho'Gath in that brush right next to you.
He's expecting it too.
There you go. Peeks real quick inside, finds the little bug, will be ruptured on his retreat back. He's still only level 1, but dude, is plenty of damage, and the red buff keeping him slow, but the potion will keep him topped off and keep him safe. However, he is pushed off of the tier 1 turret here in bot, and looks like it's gonna be a trade at the very least. You do have compLexity grabbing the top tier 1, and with Patootie here helping. Those are 2 tier 1 towers down before 4 minutes. Yeah,
it is going to be a trade, but that trade was in favor of compLexity because now top lane, it's a little bit easier to fare with that lane down, and they can swap down to bot and still have this the turret to push back the lane and allow their AD carry to farm. And that's going to be the concern for DVS right now, is making sure that Draven, now that this turret's down, isn't pushing himself into dangerous situations, because he has 17 CS, but he can't push to the second turret, because then he's at threat of Nocturne and Shen kind of going after him. So it seems they're actually going to swap back up to top, and we'll be able to see what happens there. But really nice awareness from Shen, recognizing, all right, this is a really shitty situation. Yes, I'm going to fall way behind on farm, but it's the only option in that situation because otherwise he is going to die. There's no hope for him to fight 3v1 against a Draven, Taric, and Cho. They're going to insta-kill him. Yep. So he makes the right decision, and the trade works in their favor.
Yep. We were talking about both these teams liking early objectives. I honestly didn't think we're actually going to be going that early into towers, but I'm pleasantly surprised, and that speaks to the aggressive play that both of these teams have so early on. And as you're hitting to the 5th minute, there's still only the first blood gold separating these two teams.
Yeah, and so that's not a very significant advantage, but we'll see what happens between these AD carries because right now you see Ezreal got to lane a little bit sooner. He's 10 CS ahead of Draven. There's a giant wave pushing into Captain America, so he's actually in a great situation. Whereas you look bottom, there's something of a wave, but it's not the same significant size. So Vladimir is a little bit further behind Shen, who's level 3 right now, and Ezreal is a little bit ahead of Draven. So not only did they get the first blood, but they actually have a slight experience advantage over their counterparts.
And also the poke over on the side of compLexity is vastly superior with that Lulu in tow. Polymorph keeps Vlad behind, waiting for more slow. 150 health, flash from Chase on fire. He wants to kill, but forces out the pool, and Vladimir has to go all the way back to base. His teleport is up. He can go straight back down to the tower, but meanwhile, top lane Patootie coming up here to the top lane. Rupture will keep Captain America in the sky. You have the
Taric's
exhaust.
close.
Oh, and Taric.
No.
Oh, just getting out just in time. Nice scream and the exhaust, but that is another tower already down. compLexity's got that, and everyone's just wiping up all the remaining objectives. Like, well, you take a tower, I'll take a tower.
Yeah,
but the dragon is on the lower side of the map.
And that's another benefit of getting that top tower first. They transition down to the bot.
Yes,
they trade towers, but that trade is once again in the favor of compLexity. It is keeping this game very even, but that's going to be a 1K advantage for compLexity. And we'll kind of see what happens now, because with both the top and bottom turrets down, this game could get very interesting very quickly.
Yes.
But there is still an experience gap, and neither team, their AD carries really need to farm right now. They're not looking to roam yet, despite those turrets being down. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic now, because junglers are going to be a lot more successful with ganks. Bot lane for compLexity, Ezreal and Lulu, you expect to be safe. They should be able to get away from the Cho unless Taric flashes in for a stun. Draven, I'm a little bit more concerned about, particularly once Nocturne hits 6. Nocturne's only 4 right now. He's about to hit 5. But once he hits 6, they could put a lot of pressure on Draven and actually shut down some of his farm.
Yep. He has to go actually to the mid here. He's helping Twisted Fate actually push up and try and get some damage onto the mid-tier ones. Like, well, all the other tier 1s are down, so we need to focus elsewhere. And Lulu's now here. Is everyone gathering in mid, actually? Well, Shen and Vlad are off pushing and farming on their own. It may be a 4v4 in mid, actually, very soon.
Wow, it is. It's basically an ARAM game right now. But Draven, they're not really going to be able to put a lot of pressure unless they get a stun on someone. If they land a stun, then someone is going to die. But with all of this vision, Nocturne's actually making his way up for this red. So he has the timer down. The red, because they know they took it at level 1, it is back up. So he does know he can go for it. He drops the ward. And it's going to be interesting. If they put some pressure on him, if they realize he's there, DVS could easily collapse and pick up this kill. So it's a very risky play, but he does have the flash to get out of there. And it seems he's pretty secure. He actually has Kale coming for his backup, and so he's going to be able to get that.
Patootie, he doesn't know. He knows. It's just a little bit too late. I was concerned about the speed at which Nocturne is going to be grabbing it because he didn't have the razors. He only still has the machete, but it's fine. His speed was good and nice on Kale just to distract the Cho'Gath just for a few more seconds to secure the red for Nocturne. And Nocturne with a Giant's Belt and all of the charms, going to be grabbing a, actually could be going to a Philo Stone, could be building towards a Warmogs. There's a lot of options. Actually, wow, there's a lot. Yeah, there's plenty of options for Nocturne at this point, actually.
Yeah, so we'll see where he's going. It looks like he's going to be rushing that Warmogs, but a lot of times when you rush the Warmogs, you'll go for that fast Philosopher's Stone for that gold. But this game, it could go any direction right now. It's still an even game. There's a 1K advantage because of that dragon for compLexity, and they're going to want to capitalize on that when it respawns. But right now, TF is open. Like if they split the lanes once again, TF can maybe make some plays. TF can't make plays when they're all sitting mid. Like that's just completely shutting down his potential. So I'm a little bit surprised that they're still hanging out here, but there's a lot of potential right now for this game to explode, and either team could be the benefactor.
Yeah, I can't. I never thought of that way, just to keep TF from using that teleport. Yeah, there's no real big reason if everyone's all preoccupied. Nice gold card onto the Lulu. You have two ults, both Kale and Shen, to help protect. There's a 3v4 still in the mid. Nocturne not too far away. His ultimate is up. Darkness coming on, and Lulu still somehow alive. Twisted Fate using the ultimate, trying to get wherever damage he can, and Tarek will finally go down to the Shen. Chase on fire, shooting shots from the brush, trying to kite Patootie, just keeping him confused.
He has no mana.
He has no mana left over. Shepherd very low, Iranian very low, Patootie very low, and compLexity comes out on top, and they're going to be getting this mid-tier 1.
Yeah, really nice play from compLexity there. And one of the interesting things is it's kind of a low CS game, but having all these turrets down means that there's actually a decent amount of team gold to go around between these two teams. And actually, compLexity has a team that can take advantage of that because, like we mentioned earlier, they have really great base damages and base survivability. And you saw there, DVS trying to burst down Lulu, couldn't even take down Lulu. So Kale ult, Shen ult, Lulu ult, they basically burned everything and couldn't get the kill. And then compLexity just turns it around easily. And that's going to be the concern coming up, that DVS, by not splitting this map and looking for those small engages, they're both kind of forcing full-on 4v4 or 5v5 fights right in this mid lane, and that's actually to compLexity's favor.
Man, those ults, the ult synergy from compLexity is amazing too. Just have the Shen and the Kale ult both on the same person. Why not? Preserve that shield, even though it's not going to be staying for a whole hell of a long time anyway. But it guarantees that Shen will join the fight. So often when you hit late game, if you're behind, Shen, and I know this has happened to nearly everybody out there who's ever played Shen, you ult someone, and before you're ever a factor, before you ever appear in the fight, you're already dead. And you're just kind of sitting up in top lane on your own.
Nocturne, though, he is able to get out of there. He's going to have to walk right through Shepherd, but he's actually going to get that fear and get out of there pretty easily, so long as So Heavy doesn't get in range, but he should be able to get out of there. But look, in the meantime, they've baited them out, and Iranium is very low because they're pressuring the mid, and then Captain America and Nero, they're going back in to try and force them off and not allow them to collapse on this mid lane.
Vlad and Tarek do decide to back off, but compLexity still has plenty of pressure here in the mid. Granted, Chase on Fire's relatively low. He's also low on mana. Patootie, though, with a nice money rupture, can keep him under wraps, but that is the Draven with the ultimate and Ignite. But a Cleanse and a Kale ult will help keep Ezreal safe as the axes return. One more smug laugh from Draven as the creeps continue to push here in the mid, and more free damage onto the tower from DVS.
Well, and if this game continues to be this very low kill game where it's 1 or 2 kills at a time, DVS actually has that significant burst damage where they can maybe pick someone out of position with Cho'Gath or with Tarek or TF and then insta-kill them. But you saw the shields, how effective they are for compLexity. So DVS is kind of struggling to pick up the kills that they want right now. So it's really interesting that they're still just pressuring this mid lane. We'll see if that kind of breaks when the dragon spawns again and if there's a forced fight, because it actually will be coming up in another minute now.
Yes. And while this standstill still going on, though, you have to mention
just up and now, actually.
Just up now. You have to mention top lane, though, because Shen is actually doing very well against Vlad at this point. He can win the 1v1 against me at this point. Vlad's below half. His teleport is down. He only has Ghost to try and get away, and he's being forced to pull so often here. And that is a problem. That is something you have to deal with. TF ult being used. Sees everyone over at a Dragon. Nocturne secures it. Shen ult on Chase on fire. He is present. Nocturne ult keeping Patootie down. Ezreal for more damage. Pneumatic the only one caught by that one, but that is a Cho going down first in this fight. Kale ult. Huge save onto Nocturne. And now is a Tarek and TF in retreat. Can Lulu with the harass keep them slow? They choose not to, because not only did they get the Dragon, compLexity can also get the mid-tier 1 finally. Well,
compLexity forced a fight that was completely in their favor. It was a forced error on the part of compLexity. They forced the error on DVS. And DVS, you see, they just didn't have enough damage to make their way through the natural tankiness of compLexity as well as all of those abilities. So compLexity grabs the Dragon because it is a 4v5 situation with Shen, and then easily sweeps the fight. And now it's a 4K gold advantage. So that's going to be really difficult for them to deal with. But, the key for compLexity right now, and I'm surprised they didn't start doing this sooner, was to split those lanes. The concern with them splitting lanes is they don't know that they're going to win those lanes. They know that Shen is going to beat Vladimir, so why would they want to split, that lane? They know that Ezreal and Lulu are actually in a really good situation here, and then Nocturne could dive onto Draven in the bot, and that's kind of their concern. That's why they're hesitant to do this, but they're not making any plays right now in order to pull it back in their favor, and that's what they need to do. They need to be able to pick people off. They need to just TF ult right on top of someone, insta-kill them, and then take an objective off of it.
But as we mentioned before, though, it's very hard to get into a pack of enemies as TF. It's like, I'm going to teleport behind them, but all 5 of them are there. That's very rough. Well, you're not gonna TF Shen into top lane. He has his ultimate, and you just get away.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's the very strange situation that DVS is in right now.
And another interesting situation is how low the levels are actually in this game.
Yeah.
Because there's been so many people just hanging out mid. There hasn't been a lot of bot farming. So there is a very even level distribution, but it's actually a little bit lower than you would expect at this point. So
right.
we'll kind of see how that progresses. Ezreal making his way down bot. He has the Bloodthirster first, so he has a slight advantage over Draven there. And then also just his natural survivability and AoE damage is really going to help him out in the fights.
Yep, and when you have these low levels, that means you have low farm. Low farm equals low gold, and when you have low gold, you're depending mostly on the global objectives, of which compLexity has gotten over in spades. They've had both dragons so far. They're a tower up, so that's 3,000 of that 4,000 just pure objectives.
Yeah, and you see Captain America in complete dominant control over this top lane.
Yep.
You know, he is backing up for a second. He wants to make sure he doesn't get caught, because that's really all that they need to worry about right now. They're in the lead. They don't have to make plays. They can just slowly abuse DVS right now. And now, once he has vision on the TF in the bot, and then actually a couple of guys mid, he knows he can jump right onto Vladimir, exchange fairly effectively. Though I'm actually a little bit surprised. Yeah. Vladimir did some decent damage there with that haunting guys.
Yeah, Shen, he's itemizing heavy into armor. Only now just has null magic. He's going to be going into the Aegis pretty soon. But that's it. You have plenty of Magic Fan and the CDR from Vlad.
Oh my God, what? Vlad missed.
That was, you have to try to do that one. Fear in the top lane. That's a flop. That's a pure flop.
I don't know if he would have gotten the kill
anyway.
I have
a Shen in front of me. Where am I going to ult? Behind me. Total perfect logic.
Well,
I don't know.
You know, it's just, it really is a phenomenal miss, but TF coming in, Kale's backing off. Let's see if they can actually get these guys. It is a 4v3 situation right now, and they still can't kill him. Shen's turning around. They have the Shen ult. One goes down. Nocturne is chasing down the Matic here, and they're going to be able to win that 1v1. Draven, can you kite him long enough? He backs up, and now Lulu's going to try and pick up that kill. In the meantime, TF is dueling with Captain America, who's going to be trying to chase them down here. Draven finally gets out of there, but Captain America takes him down, and now Tarek is in no man's land, has to deal with LOL Poly, and this is it. You know, that was a brutal fight
Ezreal
for
chasing.
DVS.
Oh.
That fight started off in their favor. Chase on Fire trying to hunt down Draven.
Yeah, he's trying to find him.
And they couldn't kill them fast enough. This, you know, health and those abilities, those survivability abilities for compLexity were just way too strong for them to deal with.
Wow. After that series of events, just the gold keeps skyrocketing every single skirmish, every single fight, and all those early objectives that compLexity got on all those dragons and pushing down those early towers, that gives them the edge. It gives them all the edge they need in these team fights. Not to mention having Vlad ult behind him helps, but...
Yeah. And I don't think that he would have been able to pick up that kill.
Yeah, I don't think either.
But it would have been close. And then, you know, the better benefit would have been that Shen wouldn't have been able to teleport into that fight and win that fight for compLexity because he would have been too low health. But because he wasn't, he could just, you know, jump right in there. So really nice play, but from compLexity. And DVS is really just struggling. They, like, again, compLexity have been making all of the plays. DVS just seems a little bit lost in this game, but we'll see if they can make anything happen. Sykes making his way down bot, actually swapping back to the mid, and Ezreal is holding down the bot lane.
Yep.
And the farm is actually very even in this game. You know, it's been interesting since no one's really been hanging out in lanes, but everyone's been finding their farm when they can, AoE clearing waves, and then, you know, grouping up as a team. But all of the team fights, all of the objectives are going in the favor of compLexity.
Yeah. Actually, let's hit X real quick. I just want to see the gold difference. Let's see, so that is 6,000 to about 5.5. So that, you know, just the pure objectives.
But it's team gold, so that difference is on almost everyone. You see, Shen has a 2K gold advantage over Vladimir. There's 1,000 gold on Nocturne. There's 1,000 gold or 500 gold on Kale, 500 gold on Draven. So it's across the board. A nice team difference there.
Yep.
So we'll kind of see, you know, how that progresses. Sykes making his way up in the top, trying to push down the tower a little bit.
And this is a clear, just great case study as to the importance, massive importance of global objectives. And if you have a team designed to go for them early, this is what it does to your team. It may appear that both teams are even, but that extra gold, that extra 200, extra 400 gold in stacked objectives it counts. It adds up over time. And just one extra item, you'll be surprised how much it does in a fight. Nocturne finding out the Twisted Fate gold card ready and primed, but only throws down one from the deck before he falls. Draven ult in the middle of the fight, but the damage is just not there. Patootie flashing over the wall. Vladimir trying to make a difference, but double kill for the Ezreal. Comes back over through the forest wall. Can get the triple onto Taric. No, shutdown coming in first. One hammer swing brings him down. Nocturne still off on the side though, one quick Q, and Shen ult to continue pursuing, forcing out the pull from Shepard. Wears a taunt after he comes back up. You will not get out of the pool today, and that is an ace for compLexity Academy.
Yeah, just a brutal fight for them, and DVS just, they don't have the damage to withstand them. Draven, the entire ult was mitigated by that Kayle ult. So Kale's shield just completely shutting it down. I'm actually curious if Shen missed Ezreal or if his ult literally just came up back up right after Ezreal died. But either way, Ezreal went down, so it is a kill to DVS's name. 2 turrets down for compLexity now, and they're just in such a dominant position. They should easily win every single fight that goes on from now on, which really means that DVS, their only hope is if they make big plays and just, you know, pick people off. But against double global, that's very difficult.
Right. And Patootie, there's an attempt trying to make a play. TF ult, actually in a tri-brush. They realize that they're not going to be catching out that Nocturne. Might as well try for Kayle. The ultimate is up. It's a matter of can you use it. It's caught up in the air by the Rupture. And see, now that is what needs to happen.
But check that out.
But look at that, though.
Kayle baited him. They're standing right by the dragon, and Kayle baited him just far enough away from the dragon that they were able to grab it. Nero jumps back into the team, so he's actually going to go down.
Now this is even.
But that's a that's a 1 for dragon, and Kayle. Well, that's true.
Yeah,
you'll count
dragon.
Kayle.
So that gold in that particular fight is even. But it was a good. It was good intentions from DVS, but yeah, it was. They're too far of a position.
They are going to get this tower, though, and that's really going to help them out. If they can push the second turret, that would be huge. Ezreal ult really going to shut down a lot of that push, but they're easily going to grab the first one, and then they actually back off. So it was going to be a difficult second push, but it would have been pretty significant if they could get it. Captain America recalling, so he's going to be able to go back. And Iranium's actually going to be able to pick up this blue, and that'll definitely help him out some. But we'll see. They need a number of more plays like that. And even though they picked off Kayle, compLexity turned it into their favor almost.
Yep. Let's comment a little bit on the builds as everyone's backing off just for a second. I like where Nocturne's going. He had the Warmogs, which is expected out of a lot of champs in the jungle now, but he builds into the Lizard Essence, which is something I don't see a whole lot of since its introduction, and that is plenty of extra damage, just like a permanent red buff, in addition if you already have it. Patootie getting caught out, one quick Q keeps him slowed. That's it. You can't even engage. You need to be all full 5 as if you're DVS right now.
Well, they're in a situation right now where they can't engage with compLexity out in the open field. So compLexity could actually bait a Baron and then just use their great vision here to just Nocturne ult right on top of the team and engage on them right outside the Baron pit. And 4v5, that's actually what they're going to do. They're easily going to be able to pressure this. There's really no chance of DVS to defend this, but if they do come down, then they're just going to see them, Nocturne ult, and potentially pick up a couple of kills.
Baron down to half. Wildcard's in the pit just for a little free damage. But DVS, if they want to contest this, they're going to need to try really hard. But Nocturne sees it, Twisted Fate off on the side, and that is a Shen ult. Followed up, wonderful combo, keeping everybody occupied. Huge Kayle ult onto Nocturne as he continues to rip through the enemy team. 3 kills already down. That's a 4th, and Cho'Gath can't do jack squat because he wasn't with the team.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you have to expect them to do. DVS didn't really have an option there. They probably should have just let them have it and seen if they could maybe force something somewhere else, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Against a Nocturne Shen, they're just going to engage on you anywhere on the map if they have that vision. And since you don't have a good path to retreat to a turret, they're easily going to go down. So compLexity takes advantage of that situation. They get the Baron, and now they can push right down the mid. There is good wave clearing for DVS, but so, you know, compLexity might decide to slow it down some and go for a split push, but they're going to win 100% of the fights going forward unless DVS can try and grab someone out of position. But that would require a massive screw up on the part of compLexity. And
also possibly waiting until the Baron buff is down also, because for 4 minutes, I mean...
Well, they don't have that luxury to wait till the Baron buff's down.
That's also true. That is also true.
They're going to hope they can wait till the Baron buff's down, but there's really, I mean, there's no way that compLexity is just going to waste that.
Yep. Step 1 for DVS, live for the the next 4 minutes. That is objective 1. If you can manage the next 4 minutes, then we can talk about possibly coming back. But you have to get through that first.
Well, they need to ace complexity about 2 times before the game is even.
Right.
So, you know, that's really a tall order. TF is down bot, but uses his ult just to check where complexity is. And that just
smart.
goes to show some of their lack of vision. They do have great wards over here, though, but I think they were concerned that maybe they were coming up through this blue side, and TF thought maybe he was going to get caught out. So he actually just uses his ultimate to get back to base.
Which is fine. It's fine.
That's fine, but it's not going to win them the game or even get them back into this game.
Right.
But yeah, it's not like they have a whole mess of options right here, but we'll kind of see what they can do. Complexity is backing off for a second. It looks like they're going to split top and bottom. So Shen's down bot, and then they're going to push the wave up. It is pushed away from them, so it's going to take a while to get back in there. It's going to take about half of the Baron buff before they're at the base at least. So it does buy some time for DVS now, but we'll see if they can hold off that a couple of pushes.
Yep. So Shen meeting up with Vlad down in the bot. You have the 4-man push kill, made quick work of the wave, fall back, and they will be passing by the crumbles of the tier 2 and top in just a second. And DVS, they're getting poised and ready, throwing down the shields, holding up the spears, waiting for complexity to siege on to the tier 3 and top. It's just a matter of, it's the waiting game now. How far can we outlast him? And Captain America's ult is also almost back up, and the teleport for Vladimir is not. So there's also a timing window that you have to consider in this as well. There's the scream, not silencing anyone right now, but here comes the first initial creep wave. How much damage can complexity get on top tier 3? It's already below half. Rupture forcing out Ezreal from the front line. But this is wait for the next wave, and that tower's going to be gone.
Yeah, you see how insignificant the poke is from DVS. They're trying to get some pot shots on some of the members of Complexity, and they're hardly touching them. So that Baron regen is just too high. The Baron is still at close to half, so it's a pretty significant buff timer still remaining. And like you said, this next cannon wave, which here it comes, they're easily going to be able to drop this turret.
This tower is going to be gone in just a few seconds. Rupture hitting the Nocturne, Lulu's shield, protecting him a little bit also. And surprisingly enough, DVS actually did a good job there, holding off the push for one more wave. The next wave will not be a cannon one, but there's Nocturne with the ult. Anyway, Shen ult is up. They don't care. They know how powerful they are with the Shen. Ezreal kill. That's a double kill for Ezreal. Cho'Gath very low. Vladimir trying to 1v5. That's a bad choice, but that's your only choice as the tier 3 and top goes down, soon followed by the inhibitor, and this looks like GG.
They get the inhibitor. They're easily going to be able to push in the Nexus. Captain America with one last taunt, going for the glory. The slow from Sykes going to be able to pick up this last kill. And then Iranium is the only one remaining, but there's no way he can defend against this push. Nero actually going in for a fear. See if they can kill him right inside that fountain. But really impressive play from Complexity. And the entire shape of the game, it was dominated by Complexity. All the actions from DVS, it seemed like they weren't making their own decisions almost. It was they were being pushed around by the whim of Complexity. Complexity decided to go for the lane swap, sending Lulu and Ezreal up top, and DVS was kind of like, oh, well, I guess we'll push, which was fine. It kept the game even, but Complexity got the first blood there. Then Complexity went for their lane swap. DVS was kind of like, oh, well, I guess we can push here as well. So, yes, they traded turrets, but it was Complexity's decision to an extent. Complexity made the decision, and they got the dragon off of it. So that's a 1k gold advantage. And you didn't see a whole lot of plays being made by DVS. Complexity was just kind of pushing them around. And considering that they had a stronger team as far as team fights, when you consider base damage and how survivable they were, that makes things very difficult for DVS if they can't pick people off.
Yep. And, I like the cut of Complexity's jib. You don't get to see teams who go so aggressive for objectives this early at this level of play. It makes me happy. It just, it's good. It's fun to watch.
What do you mean by this level of play?
Well, I mean, let's.
Hey, hold on a second here. This is some high tier, tournament action.
Well, this isn't quite LCS though.
All right.
They are in the academy, and for academy students, that's pretty effing good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. So. But thanks for watching, guys. We will be to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with some more CLG Premier Series action and see who can move on through this IPL 6 qualifier.